Hey guys, it's King Dai Pie here, and this video is just a bit of a standalone video, and I'm just gonna be talking about and showing a couple replays, a pair of replays, about how OP just Shadow Tag is and how uncompetitive it can be, and yeah. So first off, I apologize to anyone I played that had to play against Shadow Tag and dual Shadow Tag at that. So it was really, and I don't like playing it for the reason that I know it pisses other people off, and I'd probably never bring this to a competitive event, and I'd probably never bring it I'd never ever bring this to a friendly unless like they pissed me off. I just wanted to get them back, but yeah, I'm just using this for ladder and really just to show you guys how overpowered Shadow Tag can be if used correctly. So let me just quickly explain the team that I use. And as you can see on my screen, I'm not going to show you guys the sets fully, as I'm still working the kinks out, and I probably will end up making an RMT on it at some point, and probably uploading a voice RMT video when I finish this. I made this last night at like 11 at night. It's not too late, but I was really tired when I made this, so the sets are kind of weird. Not really. Like the EV spreads aren't as good as they should be, so I don't want to show those yet because I still have to like do all my calcs and stuff to get like the ideal EV spreads. Like for some reason, I have Air Balloon and Blaziken to like avoid like earthquake and shit, but I don't know. So yeah, it's standard Rob effect, which is, if you don't know, it's just pretty much just Encore, Counter, and Miracle. This is a Parasong Gengar, Swords Dance Blaziken, Geomancy Xerneas, a standard Palkia with T-Wave, and a pretty standard Lando T with Toxic and Stealth Rocks. And yeah. So so the team works is that you really just trap the checks to Blaziken and Geomancy Xerneas with Gengar and Mob Effect, and Gengar just really 1v1 stall. And I'm just gonna show you how much Shadow Tag just cares about stall. So I have this replay. I'm gonna move this so you can see. So this is one of my alts. I started this game, I was about 1400. He's about 1500. So this guy is at least a decent player. I can't say for sure because I don't know him that he's an elite player or a very good player. But making it a 15 on a ladder, you have to be decently knowledgeable about the metagame and be a decent batter overall. So let's get into the replay. So I just do my Lando T as he gets these sort of rocks, and unless that's default Arceus, I can just keep them up. So I switch on my Palkia, because I have Fire Blast and the sun is up. I should have predicted the Protector was a bad play. I should have went for like Spatial Rend or something, and went for Fire Blast afterwards. But I switch on my Gengar, expecting a Blissey to come in, take it. Since I'm on Mega Evolve, he can't switch out. But I end up just trapping the Ferrothorn, which is perfect. So at this point, I just start out the Ferrothorn with Perish Song, and yeah. He misses the Leech Seed, which is unfortunate for him, but it doesn't really matter. I don't need Poke yet too much. When he switches out his Arceus Fairy, I end up just T-Waving it, and then he defogs. But what I'm gonna do here, if he doesn't switch, which he doesn't, that means next time I get my rocks up, I'm gonna stay, because I can just Perish Song trap the Arceus Fairy. The fact that he's paralyzed sucks for him a bit, I guess, but it's not too bad, as I Shadow Ball there. I don't even know why I care Shadow Ball. As I said, it was really late when I built the team, so I have to change the sets a bit, and I end up just now that I trapped that, I switch Rob Effect as I don't need it for anything. And here, like, once I get my rocks up, like, Gengar beats everything besides, like, Gengar beats the one thing Rocks don't. And Icon is toxic this. That's how the game. He eventually just quits after I get the toxins off on his Groudon, as he knows Chandelier and Ho-Oh take a lot from Rocks. Niantic beats Groudon. Blissey loses to Mega Gengar. So that's the first replay I want to show you. Looking at the second replay, which kind of shows the full team in more action. So let's get into the replay right away. This is with Mewtwo. The biggest threat to my team is Stalltu, so I decided to go my Palkia sacking it. Because I need to find out if it's Stalltu, if it's offensive or not. And I find out that it's an offensive special Mewtwo, which is good for me, as now I can trap it with my Wobbuffet. And here, the fact that so I basically just have to keep spamming Miracles as he spams Taunt. They both have the same amount of PP, so every turn's a 50-50 essentially. As long as I go for an Encore on a turn he taunts, or counter on a turn he taunts, then I'm guaranteed to kill on this, even if I can't kill anything else. So eventually I tell him in the chat that I have more PP because I did go for the one Encore, so he decides to just save like 30 minutes of both our lives, ends up sacking it. I switch out to Lando T, I mean, to just take the fake out, get the Intimidate off. Here I switch out my Gengar, just take returns or power punches. And the fact that he switches out makes me think that he's not running a move to hit Kangaskhan. So what I did here was just protecting the Scout. As I Perish Song the Palkia as he roars me out. So I found he's like a defensive set. So I low kick here, and I found out he's physically defensive. He goes for a Toxic, which is unfortunate. So I sort of just want to stay in, expecting him to I don't even know what I expect him to do. I ended up going for Swords Dance. This is huge for me, as the low kick that was 48, I calced it. That was a low roll, like bare minimum. So he goes in a low kick. And expecting him to predict my third list and go out in a Palkia, I end up low kicking again, and I Oko the Palkia, getting a decent roll. And at this point, I expected a fake out, so I switched out my Gengar. That is what he goes for, and now he's trapped. I protect just to make sure he's nothing to hit me. The only thing he has is Sucker Punch, and there's no reason why I would attack him with Shadow Ball that he's immune to anyways. So I just protect again, just to be a bit more safe, because maybe he was like hiding the Earthquake, and he was really just pro about it. But he gives up, and he just spams the return. And I end up just sacking my Blaziken here, so it's not going to really do much at all. And I can just get rid of Kangaskhan, which is a threat to my team. And the reason Blaziken is a Swords Dance set, I forgot to mention, is because I can Encore like a setup move with my Wobbuffet, and then switch on my Blaziken and Swords Dance for free, and then just sweep. Or switch on Xerneas and Geomancy for free if that's what I need to do. And there I get the after Kangaskhan goes down and Blaziken goes down, I get the free switch on my Xerneas, and he's nothing for it. And I do just sweep him really easily with my Xerneas. And that's that game. And there's not many things you can do to this team. It gets shredded apart by regular Stalltu. Mewtwo is just Taunt I still beat with Wobbuffet, as you could tell from the first replay I showed you. But regular Stalltu does just absolutely destroy this team. I don't really have ways to deal with it. So that's a problem that I'll have to fix somehow, but I'm not really sure how I'll be fixing that. But again, I just made this team recently. I'll figure out a way to do it. And so this video has just made me talk about how OP Shadow Tag is. It's not fair. Against the first game, my opponent couldn't switch at all, and I just tore his team apart. And the only way he could have played against that is to have made crazy double predictions that wouldn't have made sense. He would have had to win in his... Sorry about that. he would have had to switch out into Blissey, and then pivot switch back out right away. Like, I don't know why I went on to Ferrothorn, because he just let me kill his Ferrothorn. He could have went out to, like, Groudon or something. But, like, even then, like, I'm sub-disable, I outspeed Groudon, I could disable the EQ. Like, I could have probably still beat that Groudon, in all honesty. Like, sub-disable is just really good on this team. Don't use this team against your friends, because otherwise they won't be your friends. That's all I'm going to say. And yeah, the teams, it's sort of fun to use at the same time. You have like a guilt feeling because you're using something that's like kind of uncompetitive, and you know other people don't like it. It's like the next worst thing you can do than if you were playing an Evasion Pass team. Like, I mean, that is horrible. I'll never use Baton Pass. It's so fucking stupid, and I hate it. And like, Team Exodactyl, my second RMT, will never lose to it because I have Unaware Clefable. You literally just you just put something else to sleep when you send a Smurgle in. Then you switch out into Clefable and just Calm Mind for Eternity, and you just click Moonblast 6 times and win, and that's the game. And like, after a few after a few Calm Minds, store power with like 10 boosts does absolutely nothing because Clefable resisted and it's absolutely overpowered. But I'm getting way off track here. So again, let's give it a Shadow Tag. It's just really uncompetitive because you can't switch, and like, I never want to play against this team. Like, honestly, if it was on the ladder and I wasn't recording a video, I just quit because I'm not dealing with Wobbuffet. If I don't have a Pursuit user or I'm on Hyper Offense, I'm not going to deal with Gengar, or if he's always like Gengar's in a trap like my Palkia or something, I'm not gonna bother. Yeah. If my team's weak to Shadow Tag and I'm just on the ladder, I'm just gonna quit. Which is a good laddering strat if you really just want to get high up. But I probably won't use this on my laddering series. I may though. For like a game. But yeah. Shadow Tag is just, I hate playing against it so much. So I do have a bit of a guilt feeling for playing this. And although I'm gonna probably finish the team, because like, just the philosophy of the team just really like intrigues me. Oh, and I forgot to mention the core of Wobbuffet, Gengar, Blaziken, and Xerneas. I actually got the idea because I was rewatching an Uber's cast, and I think it was Melee Mewtwo and BKC. It may have been half. I know it was one of the guys that I'm pretty sure it wasn't Sweep. It was one or two of the other guys mentioned this core and they had started to experiment with it. So I was rewatching it yesterday for whatever reason, and I just kind of thought I'd make the team for fun sort of. Then I played a few battles with it because I just want to see how it would function, even though it's really premature state. And I left to this video. And yeah, I hate Shadow Tag. It's good when it's on your side. It's very good when it's on your side, but it's such a cheap way to beat certain teams. Like Gengar is such a cheap way to beat Stall. It's such a cheap way to get rid of every Kyogre switching on your opponent's team. It's a cheap way to get rid of a Klefki that checks Xerneas. Like, I feel like to get rid of your opponent's check to something, you should have to be more. You should have to do more than switching out. Like, it's ridiculous. So once you switch out into it, they're not getting away unless it's Mega Gengar. Then they have one free out. And the next time, if they don't predict and double switch, they're trapped. I mean, and if they do double switch, But Xerneas or whoever's in like Xerneas, Kyogre, whoever they sent their check into stays in, you just get a kill. And you have a 50% chance of getting a kill. And if the kill is the check staying in and getting trapped, every time that Pokemon comes in, it's getting a kill. Or if it's Xerneas and he clicks Geomancy, it just wins. Like, it's stupid. Like, there's you have to make crazy doubles to stand a chance and not get shredded apart by one Pokemon that your team is honestly prepared for. Like, if you have a Palkia, you can say for sure, like, you are prepared for Kyogre. You shouldn't get shredded apart by Kyogre if you have a Palkia unless you play bad. But if they have a Gengar, that's a different story. And while if it beats 4-attack special attackers really well, it encores things and switches out to setup sweepers, and you can't do anything because you just watch as they encore your Toxic. They switch out, or no, they've probably been doing it like a Toxic, but like they encore a Calm Mind, and then they recover or defog or something like that. They switch out to a Blaziken or their Xerneas, and they just click their setup move, and you just have to watch, and you have to switch out after they set up. And like, not many things are taking a +2 Moonblast or a +2 Low Kick or Flare Blitz. Like, they're gonna get demolished or 2-hit. Like, nothing's gonna. What's not gonna get 3-hit by that? Like, next to nothing will get 3-hit. Almost everything is 2-hit. Or get enough so they can switch to the super effective hit and knock you out the next turn. It's so stupid, and that's why I hate Shadow Tag. And like, it's really good. Like, it's amazing. It's a really good thing, but it's really uncompetitive, and it's one of the things that sort of ruins this meta. Like, if you go rid of Shadow Tag and Evasion Pass, like, this gen's Ubers would be amazing, and it'd be the best thing since like DPP. Like, no, it'd clearly be better than Black and White, on which you guys are free to argue. But in my opinion, this would become my second favorite meta game besides DPP Ubers. Like, every gen's OU and under, XY Ubers would beat if there was no Shadow Tag and they got rid of Evasion Pass. Like, the meta would be perfect. Like there'd still be things like Geomancy Xerneas is a little OP, but you can't, like, if you can no longer Shadow Tag the checks, it becomes a lot less OP, and every team is gonna have an Xerneas switch in, or an Hyper Offense team that has like a Scissor or something that can revenge kill it. Like, you have to have some like threats in the meta that every team kind of has to check, so there is like a standard. But like, you guys get what I'm saying. The meta just be a lot nicer. All you need to have on each team is your Palkias, your Xerneas switch in, or like something that revenge kills it. You have a Ho-Oh switch in, you have a Kyogre switch in, and then everything else is like free to team, unlike an Arceus, Extreme Kill Arceus check, a Toxic user, and like the rest is completely open, and so much more originality can be seen on every team, and just so much more freedom. And it'd be so much easier to have like creative cores without having to make sure you have a switch into this, a switch into this, a backup switch into this, a backup switch into that, phasing moves to make sure you can beat Evasion Pass, and all of that. Like, it's just too much, and it comes from uncompetitive things like Shadow Tag and Evasion Pass. So that pretty much sums up like a little bit of a rant on why I hate Shadow Tag. It's clearly because it's way too uncompetitive, and nobody enjoys playing against it. Like, you can't argue that nobody enjoys playing against it. Like, you don't look a team that has Shadow Tag, and you're like, oh, this game's gonna be so much fun. He's gonna trap all my shit, and I'm gonna get torn apart by the Kyogre, or that Gengar is just gonna just perish song my entire stall team, because I only have one that has a super effective hit, and like he's 5 other mons to beat that one, so I'm pretty much screwed. Like, you don't have a choice when, like, teams shouldn't be lost at team preview. Like, even when, like, I'll give you an example. The Chicago Bears played San Francisco. San Francisco was at home. San Francisco was a much better team than the Chicago Bears. But like, the Bears suck ass. Like, I hate the Bears. I'm a Packers fan. But like, the Bears don't come in there like, oh crap, we're playing home against San Francisco, we lost. They came in, they kept trying, and they still won. The game wasn't decided going into it. It was still a pretty good game. Even though I hate the Bears, it was still a pretty good game. And like, even though it should have been so heavily tipped in one team's favor, a game still happened. If your team doesn't have a Pursuit Trapper, or he has a Gengar set that stops your particular Pursuit Trapper, and you have a stall team, the game's over then. Unless they, like, show extremely badly. Like, they just picked up, like, a Pokemon game yesterday. Like, unless they show so badly, like, it's a 4-year-old playing, there's no way you're winning that game. It's not going to happen. Like, you could have, like, an average, if you gave an elite player, say, like, Hack or Sweep. I'm not saying that I don't want to say that this would be impossible for them to win, but the most likely wouldn't. And they're played against an average, above average player, someone that, say, can reach the 1500s in the ladder. They play in the weekend tours and stuff like that. They're knowledgeable from the meta, but you wouldn't call them a very good or elite player. But you could call them a good player or above average player. And that above average player, if they have a Gengar and it has like Hidden Power Fire, he's a Scissor, and that Scissor like isn't that bulky. It's like I don't know. It's not invested enough to like after Stealth Rocks be able to take an HP Fire. Like, or he just stays. The Gengar just stays in and clicks HP Fire twice and it's dead. Like, he can just tear apart the stall team that has Mega Scissors as a Pursuit Trapper. Or maybe his Focus Blast. All you need to do is hit the Focus Blast, and like, if you're playing as T-Tar, the game's over. Your only hope is for him to miss the Focus Blast. Like, games shouldn't be decided that quick. Like, they shouldn't be decided so that your opponent has to make this exact play for you to have a chance of winning. Just to have a chance. Even if the stall team beats Mega Gengar, it still has to stall out 5 other Pokemon. Like, if it's like double Shadow Tag, maybe Gengar plus Gothitelle, you're just screwed. There's nothing you can do. Like, it's just so hard to counter. And like, if you see Gengar on a team, you don't know. Well, it could be Will-O-Wisp Reflect type. It could be Perish Song. It could be your normal Destiny upon taunt 2 attacks. And like, you have to play differently to counter each one. And you don't, for the most part, you have to play differently to counter each one. And like, that's just, it's uncompetitive as it is. And it can run 3 different sets that you have to counter in different ways. And it's really, in that aspect, I just find it very uncompetitive. Trying to think. Is that really it? For the most part, honestly, I find Gengar the most fair out of all of these 3. I find it the most fair because you have a turn to switch in your Scissor or your Tito or your Aegislash or your Mega Aerodactyl. Mega Aerodactyl is a good one. And, just, you know, Pursuit Trapping them or forcing a 50-50. Like, maybe if they stay in, they move the Okos you, then you're screwed. So you mean they have so many different coverage moves. If they have the right coverage move, you lost the game. Like, there's nothing more. Which is really unfortunate. So I'm gonna say briefly, if you need a Pursuit Trapper and you're not too weak to rocks, use Mega Aerodactyl. It destroys Mega Gengar. Like, it absolutely wrecks them. Because even if he stays in, you can take any one hit, and I'm not sure. I need to check this again, but I think you can, depending on what move he goes for, if rocks aren't up, you can take any 2 hits. And Mega Aerodactyl, the turn it comes in, like regular Aerodactyl and Mega Gengar, they speed tie, and that's only if he's max speed and timid. And after you Mega Evolve, you outspeed him, so you can 2-hit him with Pursuit. So unless he stays in and wins the first speed tie, and he caught you switching in on rocks and hitting with attack, that's the only way Mega Gengar will beat Aerodactyl. So I think Aerodactyl is probably one of the best Pursuit Trappers, unless your team doesn't have a very reliable Defog or Rapid Spinner. If it's a very reliable Defog or Rapid Spinner, Mega Aerodactyl I find to be a really good one. And it's really fast. It can revenge kill things. It forces Ho to switch out, and you can get your rocks up and stuff. So it's a pretty cool mod. I suggest looking into it, assuming because it's Mega Gengar for now is probably not going to be banned. So if you do need a Pursuit Trapper, look into Mega Aerodactyl. I recommend it highly. But to get back on topic, this video is really just summed up all the points that I can think just off the top of my head of why I think Shadow Tag is very uncompetitive. And if it doesn't get banned, because I think there may be a second suspect test for Shadow Tag in general, if it doesn't get banned, like, I'll be pretty sad about it, but you can't really do anything. And like in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, like, just looking at how strong an OP Primal Groudon is really strong. My friend Lustrous Pokia talked about it in one of his videos. I'll leave a link to that in the description so you guys can check it out and just hear his rant on sort of a rant. Not really. On Primal Groudon, like, Gengar with D-Bond, that may be what you need to that may be what Mega Gengar may be needed on every team, just to D-Bond it. So I may even if Primal Groudon really is that strong, and Gengar is legal in Mega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, I could see myself using a Mega Gengar as a check to it. Yeah, and it'd be a good way to beat Stall too. I'd probably feel a little bad about it, but like, if that's the only way you can really check Primal Groudon and Stall's really non-existent because every other team is Gengar, then I guess that's how it's going to be. I mean, you can run like Mega Banette and stuff like that, but who wants to run that? Like, I'm not really sure how you're gonna beat the Primal Groudon, in all honesty. Or like, it gets a kill, and I'm just assuming, I'm not sure if it's gonna be like this or not. It's gonna be interesting to find out. Like the buffed weathers, if Kyogre comes in, will its ability cancel out Groudon Sun that's already up, and vice versa. Assuming it works like the way it is now, it's just on like another stage up, and then water would come up. Like, you could revenge kill Groudon, or you just force it to switch out into the Palkia, which will completely check the Primal Kyogre. And then, like, next time Primal Groudon comes in and picks up another kill. Is that really how it's going to work? But Groudon switches on Kyogre all day. It's like, I feel like Kyogre may not get much use because of that. So, Yeah, but I don't want to get into like Primal Groudon and like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, like post Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire meta game, because that's a whole nother video. We don't know too much about it. I mean, Primal Ground may not be nearly as strong as we think it is. You can't really say, especially this far, or we're actually pretty close to the release date, but you can't really say for sure at this point what's it going to be like. So overall, like, I'm sort of worried about what kind of effect it has in the meta, but it's not too much in my mind. I know Uber's community is a very creative community. We'll find a way to check it, because Uber's is available. We have availability to every Pokemon in the game, unless like Shadow Tag gets banned. But like next to any Pokemon in the game, we have access to. So we have access to next to any set possible. So we'll find a way to check whatever new threats appear, one way or another. And yeah. But on the flip side, if Shadow Tag, like Gengar, is the way you need to beat Primal Groudon, or if there's other checks that aren't like this is where I want to go. If there's other checks that aren't Gengar, if you've Gengar on your Primal Groudon team, you check that, and Primal Kyogre's like Life Orb Primal Kyogre is like Xerneas or Blaziken, but you don't need setup, and it's probably as strong as Kyogre. Like that Extreme Drought, Stab, Fire Punch, like Life Orb, that hits. That I'd have to do calcs. We don't know like their stats and stuff yet. That could potentially hit as hard as like a Water Spout, but like you don't have to be at full health. Like if you after a few switch-ins, Kyogre's worn down by rocks or takes damage on a switch-in, or he could get paralyzed on the switch-in, or even any kind of status on the switch-in, Kyogre's done. Groudon, as long as it has enough health to either and is fast enough to outspeed or bulky enough to take a hit, something's dying, and you can't stop something from dying, from what we know yet. And like if Gengar traps the checks to it, it just sweeps. Nothing else can be done. That's it. But again, we can't get into that too much. What I've said these past like 5-10 minutes is just speculation. And everything in this video is opinionated. I could be forgetting things, and my opinions are easily swayed too. This is just what I'm thinking right now. I could read one person's post, and if it really was a good argument, I could realize something, like maybe an opinion of mine was way too naive or something. And that's really it. Like I've said that like 5 times, but I really think that's it for this video. It's just been my little rant on Shadow Tag, me talking to myself, dark room in the basement. I have no life. Yeah. So let me know in the comments what kind of stuff. What do you think about Shadow Tag? Especially in Ubers. But you know, you guys have your own discussion about how broken or overpowered you think Shadow Tag is. As I really think it's unfair, it's uncompetitive. It's the only thing worse is Evasion Pass. Cause like at least this you can pull crazy double switch Evasion Pass. Like you play some weirdest shit fit. Like I don't know how to play against it if I don't have phasing moves and unaware users. Like you just gotta like go into your hardest hitter and just spam the hardest hitting move and hope something dies. Like I'm not really sure how. It's really annoying to beat. Yeah. So Shadow Tag's really competitive. Feel free to leave a comment on how fucking broken Baton Pass is, or not Baton Pass in general, but I mean regular Baton Pass is annoying too. Like Evasion Pass is stupid. Fucking hate it. And like when you're using it, for some reason, whenever I use it, like all like 3 times evasion, and I hit by like a stone edge. I'm fucking playing against a guy. He's like 1 evasion boost. I go for like a Draco Meteor, and I miss, and I'll miss it like 4 times in a row, and he still hasn't gone up in evasion, and then I just rage quit because it's fucking stupid. And I have to stop talking now, or I'll be talking here for like an hour. Because I am pretty enthusiastic about the Ubers tier. It's my favorite tier by far. It's the only one that I can say that I'm good at. Like, I'm pretty average, below average in every other tier, and I can say I'm above average or even good in Ubers. Cause I like to think I'm pretty knowledgeable about the meta. I may not be in other people's opinions, but in my opinion, I think I'm pretty knowledgeable about the meta. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Leave comments, discuss, 7 p.m. if you want to discuss with me. And yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.